I didn't hear the splash. I heard the laugh. Sharp, careless, almost bored. By the time I turned, my son was gone beneath the water. Small hands flailing, mouth open, no sound coming out. Huts can't swim. Everyone knows that. Everyone except the woman still smiling at the edge of the pool. I dove in fully dressed. The world narrowed to blue chaos and panic. I grabbed him, dragged him up, coughed water and rage at the same time. As I lifted him out, I saw her again. My wife's sister, hand over her mouth, pretending shock, eyes glittering with something rotten. At the hospital, everything smelled like disinfectant and lies. Machines beeped. My son slept, oxygen hissing softly. The doctor pulled me aside, voice careful. 3 words. This wasn't accidental. I looked at my wife. She wouldn't meet my eyes. That was the moment something in me went quiet. Not broken, focused. I used to believe family was a shield, that my wife's sister was just loud, careless, immature. I defended her at dinners, smoothed over her comments, laughed when she crossed lines. Hot love was endurance. She moved in with us after her divorce. Too much wine, too many opinions. She said my son was clingy. Said he was weak. She said it like a joke. Always a joke. My wife told me not to make scenes. She's just going through a phase. Phases don't watch children drown. The doctor didn't say much more then. He didn't need to. The bruises on my son's arm were fingerprints, small, deliberate, the kind that don't come from slipping. Later that night, after my wife fell asleep without touching me, I sat in the dark and replayed everything. The laughter, the hesitation, the way my wife froze instead of screaming. I checked the pool camera the next morning. I had installed it months ago for safety. My wife complained about privacy. Her sister laughed about it. The footage was clear. A hand on my son's back, a push, a pause, a smile. I didn't feel anger then. I felt clarity. I didn't confront anyone. Not yet. I became patient. I backed up the footage twice, 3 times. Cloud drive, lawyer's office. I checked messages on the shared tablet, late-night texts between sisters, jokes about kids being dramatic, a voice note I couldn't forget. If something happened, he'd finally be yours alone. My wife didn't treply. She didn't object either. I hired a private investigator. Quiet man, efficient. He found what I suspected, old insurance policies. My wife is beneficiary. My son added recently, then removed. Dates matter. Motives leave fingerprints too. I adjusted finances, separate accounts, trusts, safeguards. I spoke to a lawyer before I spoke to my wife. I learned the difference between rage and leverage. At home, I played my role. Concerned father, loving husband. I let my wife's sister grow comfortable again. People make mistakes when they think they've won. The execution had Tobe clean. First, I arranged a family gathering. Nothing dramatic. Birthday dinner, photos, smiles, witnesses. Then I invited my wife's sister to speak. She always loved attention. I played the footage on the living room TV while she was mid-sentence. No sound at first, just images. The room changed temperature. She laughed nervously, called it an accident. My wife stood up too fast, chair scraping, eyes wide. That's when I turned the volume on. Her laugh filled the room, the real one. Then the voice note. Silence after Thaddeus. Empty. It's heavy. Police were already outside. Timing matters. So does preparation. At the station, my wife finally cried. Not for our son, for herself, for how things looked. She asked how I could do this to family. I told her, family doesn't need to bear restraint from hurting children. She avoided my eyes again. Some habits don't break. Charges followed. Child endangerment, conspiracy. The investigators' report helped. So did the insurance trail. The pool footage seal edit. My wife's sister stopped laughing after the arraignment. My wife stopped pretending after the divorce papers were served. The payoff wasn't loud. It was quiet mornings with my son, therapy sessions, swimming lessons where fear slowly loosened its grip. The first time he floated on his own, he smiled like he'd won something back. I watched from the edge of the pool. Always watching now. My wife tried to call once. I let it ring. Some silences are earned. People ask how I stayed so calm. How I didn't explode. I tell them the truth. Revenge isn't rage. It's restraint. It's waiting until the truth can't escape. They pushed my son into the water thinking I'd drown in grief. I didn't. I learned how to swim.